Erroll Southers joins us live to talk about today's protest and the possibility of violence on Inauguration Day. Dr. Southers is a former FBI agent and police officer specializing in homeland security and counterterrorism. Dr. Southers, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I'm interested in the low turnout that was today. Does that say anything about the possibility of what's in store for Wednesday?
Well, that's an interesting question. As you know, a month ago, all of these organizations were talking about how they had to show up on January 17th in preparation to show up on January 20th. There's certainly a lot to be said for presence. And so as you can see, now that you have 14 states that have activated the National Guard, and you've got more troops in the nation's capital than we have in Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan, it got people's attention. However, I would say that based on the quote unquote chatter that we're hearing in the intelligence community and across the country, we'll have to see what happens on the 20th, but you can certainly count on the fact that there'll be no change in the presence of law enforcement and military personnel that have been stationed thus far.
You mentioned a little bit of this, but there have been a lot of changes from January 6th until now. Social media channels have been closed, security protection have been enhanced, not only at the U.S. Capitol, but capitals all across the 50 states. Did these changes work to deter the individuals from going too far, like what we saw a week and a half ago?
That's a great question. I don't think so. I think what those changes have done is it's certainly going to limit their ability to communicate. They're trying to find other channels. As you know, Parler was a big platform for them. There's now something called the Parler Lifeboat. So they're trying to find alternatives. The one thing that people did find out is that because of that ability to communicate, it has greatly assisted law enforcement in now the investigation with regards to who was involved in the Capitol insurrection, as well as other actions that occurred around the country. So unfortunately, people tend to underestimate the capacity, technology, talent, and resources of our law enforcement community in the investigative scope, and they're finding out that it works.
Dr. Southers, you mentioned the intel that the FBI, that other counterterrorism groups are looking at for what is ahead in the next few days. What does it look like? What could we see on Inauguration Day, January the 20th?
Well, the good news is that you only have 6 states in the country and the district that actually allow people to carry weapons, or I should say don't allow people to carry weapons to demonstrations. You've got 5 states that allow firearms with certain provisions. So I think you may see people show up. Because you now have a 2-mile perimeter around the Capitol, we're certainly not going to see what we saw on January 6th. I think you'll see more of what you saw today, which are peaceful protests, controlled, people actually dissenting without destroying, as our First Amendment is meant to be carried out. And I think that's what you'll see going through the week. Of course, they're going to be vocal, but many of these organizations have already announced to their followers, let's stand down. It's quite similar to what we saw after Charlottesville. There were demonstrations planned for after Charlottesville, and quite frankly, they didn't take place because of the law enforcement presence and the posture that was taken. So I would expect going into January 20th, we'll see the same thing. Not as many people, but whoever shows up will certainly be on their best behavior.
From what we've heard from reports all across the country, Dr. Southers, there's been a notion of civility from the protesters. What does that tell you about what happened 10 days ago as far as the lack of civility that we saw there compared to what we're seeing now in people being peaceful?
Well, I think part of the lack of civility was, first of all, the incitement in the rally that took place before they got to the Capitol, getting to the Capitol and then deciding they were going to go inside, easily breaching the Capitol, and then mob mentality took over. However, there was definitely a faction of individuals or groups that were planning to go in there. They knew where to go. We heard a video yesterday where they talked about it being an intelligence operation. They were photographing documents. They knew where offices were of members who don't have the names on those doors. So this was a very, very different situation 10 days ago. But now all of those threats, all of that information that was already out there is being taken quite seriously. And you're not going to see a repeat anywhere soon, I would hope, at any of the capitals throughout the country.
The inauguration will be like something we've never seen in this time, Dr. Southers, mask and social distancing aside. The level of security has increased rapidly. Do you believe this is a one-time occurrence for this once-in-a-4-year situation with inauguration, or could this become the new norm with that 2-mile perimeter that you spoke of for presidential inaugurations?
You know, the inauguration, as you mentioned, is a national security special event. It gets this kind of security normally. It doesn't get the, if you will, the green zone effect that we now have in D.C. But the one thing we can count on, whether we need this kind of security again for coming inaugurations, we certainly can't ever normalize what happened on January 6th as it relates to the people that took place, and even more importantly, the sympathizers that may have been in law enforcement in that insurrection as well. So you may see that coming forward. It may be a new normal. I hope not. I'm hoping that over the next 4 years, we can return to some governance and some civility and some intelligence and an ability to work with each other when we have differences.
Dr. Erroll Southers, thank you so much for taking the time on NewsNation.
Thank you for having me.